What is your best horror experience in real life? Was out working on the track late one night in Georgia, had to take a leak, so I went to the tree line, heard this awful growl, and some twigs break. Then I unmistakably heard the crashes, and pops of something running through the woods at me. The guys said when they looked, I was running through an arch of my own piss, dick flapping, trying to run up the ballast. I heard it when it made it to the ballast just a couple feet behind me. I ducked down to crawl up the ballast hill on all fours when it ran past me. A fucking pig the size of a Volkswagen. A fucking pig the size of a Volkswagen. Do not fuck with feral hogs. These things aren't Wilbur. They aren't babe. They will kill you and eat you. They are resilient and they are aggressive. I didn't. I ran away with my penis out. Removed. Being the passenger in a car that went over a cliff, my leg was impaled by a 9-inch piece of jagged door that got punctured by a rock. The driver was unconscious and I had to pull my leg off the metal and climb a 45-foot cliff while bleeding out. My heart stopped in the ambulance. I couldn't ride in cars for a long time. I still have PTSD, nightmares, anxiety, insomnia, and depression because of it. I can't drive anymore either. The anxiety is still too bad. I smelled something burning in the bathroom, looked around, and found that my psycho ex-wife had hidden a butcher knife in the light above the sink. Whitewater rafting, got flipped over and felt the undertow pull me to the bottom of the river. Pulled my water shoes clean off. Always wear a life jacket. One was I was at a haunted asylum taking pictures and there was some cool graffiti I wanted to catch, so I took a photo of Anubis. But when the flash went off, I saw a black hooded figure with a scythe instead for an instant. I tried recreating the moment for my friends who weren't near me at the time, but I didn't work. So was it a cool piece of graffiti that changed or something else? I don't know. Also, being in Manhattan on 9/11, we were essentially trapped as they closed all bridges and tunnels. I was in Midtown and I just have never seen the city so empty, literally like a ghost town. I sat in a small room hearing military and police helicopters for hours thinking they were rescuing people until my friend informed me via rain that the towers had collapsed. We had no TV and not great internet and I just couldn't fathom it. And then there were the people walking uptown covered head to toe in dust. The worst may have been when we got home. There was dust there too and burnt pieces of office paper on the lawn. The air smelled of death. Not a RLY horror experience, but it scared me a lot. It sounds like a creepypasta, but it actually happened. Actually, it happened not too long ago. This is what happened. I was in my kitchen with my brothers. My older brother was getting a snack. I followed him because he was watching a video on his phone. He opened the fridge when my dad came down and said go to sleep, but as he said it he turned on the lights and I saw the light reflect off animal-like eyes and somewhat shiny skin through the window. When it realized I could see it, it reeled back swiftly from the view of the window. I froze. As my brothers and dad walked back upstairs I did too and told my dad. He said it was probably nothing. Me. Oh, I got a good one for this. My brother scared my ass off one day by sneaking up on me wearing a scream mask. Me. Reads the first few comments. Me. I'm a total pussy. Back in junior high I dated a girl for a brief 2 months. Didn't work out due to personal beliefs and such. Well, after we broke up she became a stalker. However, I always dismissed it when my friends commented on it since I was always thinking, what could this 4'5" girl do to me? Really? Well, one day after school I had a appointment nearby which was no more than a 15 minutes walk from school. I walked there, rode the elevator up, went through the halls and finished my dentist appointment within the hour. To my dismay, once I opened the door to leave the office after receiving a lollipop I eagerly waited for after each appointment, I found my ex sitting in front of the door. We looked at each other for about a minute until she just gave a subtle smile and began to get up. I never slammed the door as fast as I did that day. My mind was racing trying to figure out how she managed to find me. I couldn't understand since the whole time walking no one was behind me. I rode the elevator alone and once I exited there was multiple doors along with numerous hallways that were on that floor. Office woman saw my panic and I explained the whole deal. She locked the door and contacted my family. Eventually her mother was contacted since my mother knew her as well. Long story short, turns out she skipped school, hung around a coffee shop I walked by daily pretty much and followed me from afar unknown to me. She never told me how she managed to find the correct office or see what floor I got off at. Still sends chills down my spine thinking about it to this day. I got my first job the summer after I graduated high school at a rundown amusement park. I worked as an announcer at an old game and got to know a lot of employees as it was one of the few shaded places to sit down in. Within a few weeks I noticed a janitor. He was an older gentleman, maybe in his 40s or 50s, and he would always sweep the doorstep of the game as it was my duty to keep the area clean. I would politely wave as he walked by and that was that. Eventually he started coming by more often, offering to take out the trash and help clean. I accepted the help as I was often busy, but after a while my male co-workers and I noticed that he would pace the windows outside of my shop. He would walk back and forth waiting for me to acknowledge him, watching with his broom in his hand and cleaning spots that he had done an hour earlier. Once I counted him walking back and forth 8 times across my windows. Then he started learning my schedule. Somehow he was always taking his smoke break when I was coming in for my shift. He would be waiting on the corner smoking until he saw me and would walk up to my car so that he could walk me to work. That's when I realized a seemingly normal coworker was someone that was beginning to stalk me. I started having panic attacks and nightmares about this janitor that kept on meeting me. My male coworkers would note the way he watched me and they began walking with me to and from my car at night. I saw him once at a gas station as I was pulling in and he tried to come up to my car, so I left immediately. Then one day I spotted him from a distance beginning to come into my game that I worked at. I told my coworker I was going to hide and I hid beneath one of the old machines in a back corner. I could hear my coworkers telling him that I left and I could hear his footsteps as he walked around, holding my breath. I saw his shoe stop in front of the machine I was hiding beneath and he crouched down to my level with a smile. "You're hiding from me now?" he asked. Shortly after that incident I decided to report him to my manager because I was 18 and unsure if what was happening was me projecting my own fears. She listened to me, my coworkers confirming what happened, and she launched a small investigation. It turns out there were a few of us girls that the janitor decided he liked and began to follow. The youngest was 14 and I was 18. I was the first one to come forward and upon hearing different stories, the janitor was fired from the park. To this day I always have a sense of unease in the workplace and a fear that a friendly coworker could be something far worse, and I will never forget the smile as he looked at me from under the machine, proud that he had found me when I was most afraid. Posted this before in other threads. My 4-year-old son had a habit of announcing when he had to use the bathroom. He would say, "I gotta go potty." One time he makes his business known and heads off toward the bathroom. He returns seconds later and says there's already someone in the bathroom. Now I do know for a fact that it's just the two of us home, so the hair stands up on my neck. I ask him, "What do you mean?" He repeats, "There's already someone in the bathroom." Now I'm thinking, is it someone I see dead people or someone in a hockey goalie mask? So I grab the biggest knife from my knife block and tell him to stay here. I walk to the bathroom, take a wide angle to see in. Nobody. Slowly and quietly walk toward the shower and pull back the curtain. Nothing. By now my son has walked around the corner and I ask him, "Where did you see the person?" He points to an unflushed toilet and says, "See, someone's already here." His big brother didn't flush the toilet.